Hi and welcome everyone to the Creative Cast. My name is Lucas Holman, and today I'm excited to have on the show not one but two exciting guests tuning in all the way from the East Coast. We got Henry and Mike Budrevich, aka the Pointer Brothers. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're excited.
All right, let's start off with having a little bit of a background story and where you guys, how you got, where you were born and how you got raised up and ended up, doing the social media game.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I can start. I'm older than Mike, so I'm 24. Mike's 21. So yeah, I'm the older brother here. We started. I'm trying to think. We grew up in the East Coast, in Massachusetts, and our family, I would say, is just like a funny, goofy dynamic. Our dad is so funny. He's the funniest guy that I know, that we know. We have an older brother who is a year older than me. He's hilarious. So our whole family, our uncles, everyone, so funny. So we kind of naturally just had that humor about us, naturally cracking jokes, and all of our friends would say that that we're funny guys. But I would say, that's kind of where the humor and comedy just stemmed from our family. We've been doing it forever. And that kind of brought us real quick to, we'll go to COVID. So the whole COVID, the pandemic and everything, that's kind of where the Pointer Brothers started. It felt kind of like a natural start for us, because we found ourselves, stuck at home like everyone else. And we were just making content for our friends to be funny, with no real intentions of going viral or ever really starting. Do you want to say?
Yeah. So my background too, I was actually born over in Europe. I was born in Brussels. And then just because we were over there for work and everything, and then my dad's work, and then we came back, and grew up East Coast, Massachusetts, all that. And then, I did 2 years at a small college up in New Hampshire, and now making content. So that's what we've been doing. And like Henry said, COVID, making videos with our friends, and it kind of just snowball effect. One video caught wind, went viral. Like, what do we do? It's like, we make another video, and then we've just been rolling with that. And that's kind of how we got this rolling, was basically COVID kind of is what
you guys started last year, right?
Yeah,
or we started last year. I think we first started gaining traction and going viral at the end of August.
Yeah, August, September 2020.
Yeah. We made videos maybe like 2 or 3 months before that, but like not very seriously, maybe once a week or, maybe 2 videos a week just when we were bored.
Yeah.
But started taking it a bit more seriously in late August 2021.
Okay. But like you started out, like the first videos you did was just for fun?
Yeah. So our whole intentions, obviously was to never go viral or anything. It was just we were stuck at home. We had this app called TikTok, and we didn't know much about it. We didn't even know, you should have seen us. We didn't even know how to use editing whatsoever at all. Like, all we knew how to do was record it and upload it. We didn't know how to make it slow-mo, how to cut time off of it, how to do all this. It was hilarious. So it's kind of cool to see how far we've come. But we made videos just for our friends, because we're like, hey, instead of uploading them to like our Snapchat story, where people can see them one time, it's like, hey, maybe we can have like random people see it. We just want our content out there, but it's for our friends, getting, 10 likes a video or maybe 55 likes a video, like, and that's really it. And then we made this one video, where it was like me and him playing basketball, and I fake got hurt.
Yeah.
And then I jumped up on the car and like I started like twerking, like doing a dance move. And that was like the first video ever that went viral, because none of our videos have ever gotten over like 10,000 views.
Sure.
So when we were like watching that grow, you see like the K next to it for like 1,000, and we're like, dude, that's insane. Like, we've never seen that. And then that was the first video that went viral, and we had no intentions of any of these like videos to go viral. It was just to make our friends laugh, make our parents laugh, make our like everyone, all of our family members.
And it was just kind of something to fill the time. And then, we see that one video gets, 250,000 views, and we were like, whoa, this is kind of cool. This is neat. Like, what do we do here that was special or funny, or like, let's do that again. Like, that was actually kind of fun getting all these views, like, seeing all these comments and like people, people liking it, people, also, disliking all this stuff. Like it was just kind of fun to have a little buzz around one of our videos. And we were like, oh, okay, let's keep going. We'll make some more videos. And that's kind of,
I don't think we didn't think anything after the first one. We're like, oh, that's awesome. But then like, I think it went like another week or two where we didn't make a video that did well or whatever. I don't know how that is translated.
We have
compared to that one.
Which is, it's a different definition. But then we made this thing that started it all was our handshake videos, doing like handshakes with the homies. And we kind of started that off. We never even wrote part 1. We just did handshakes with the homies because we didn't know there was going to be a part 2 and a part 3. So we did that. And that's the first video that really like did really well. And since we're like, yo, what do we do now? It's like, yo, we make a part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, part 7, part 8, and just keep going. And those were like part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, like all got millions of views. And this is still when we have like 180 followers, then 300 followers, then grow like 7,000 followers overnight. And then like, so it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then that's all we like, really, that's how we started like doing the handshake, which was kind of cool.
I love how it kind of caught you guys by surprise. And I love how somehow this, this awful pandemic, COVID, brings such, positive effects sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny. We were having a conversation with a friend the other day. He was like, do you think COVID helped the Pointer Brothers? And I was like, to be honest, the Pointer Brothers wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the lockdown. Like I know there's so many, negatives that have come from it, but like you had just said, we were able to kind of build something out of it, and I think that we never would have had the opportunity. We never would have been stuck at home for days, weeks, like with all this time together. Like if the pandemic and lockdowns and things like that never happened. So I feel, fortunate to be able to take something out of such like just a dark time. So
making the best out of it.
Absolutely.
How did, after your first hit, all right, how did that change your approach to, maybe the intention or the goal of making videos?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that we know we wanted to do it again, right? We knew we were like, okay, this was fun. We're getting some traction. We want to, make some more of these videos, but we weren't thinking like, oh, like we're going to make a brand out of this. We're going to go big. We're going to get all these followers. We were still kind of just like, oh, let's see if we can do it again. This was fun. This was funny. Let's see if we can do it again. So I think that we were much more thoughtful with the content, or thoughtful in a way that like we sat down and kind of, planned out what our handshakes were going to be, because that's kind of the route that we took with it. I think the first video, we were like, let's do all this random stuff. What happens. And then the second video, like, okay, like we got something good going. Let's plan what we want to do. Let's make sure the takes are better. Let's make sure that we're more polished here, because, if it's gonna go viral again, we want to make sure that that's a good video. That's a solid video.
I would say the exact same thing as Henry. Still not knowing much of it, not knowing to build a brand. It's just making videos, not to gain followers, just to get that traction, get that entertain a lot of people, all over the world. It was funny. Like when our first video, I think it was our second handshake video that went viral, we're starting to get comments in all different languages. So, it's hitting everyone's For You page and, like Germany, Spain, and Asia, and it's really neat. And it's cool to see like, oh, wow, like everyone's seeing this right now. And and we just kept growing through simply just doing handshakes. That was like the only thing we were making. And then eventually we challenged ourselves and we're like, hey, we are goofy kids, but like, can we show that on TikTok where we can make content other than just handshakes, because that's obviously something we didn't want to like stay with the whole time. What were you gonna say?
I was just going to kind of give a little more background on that. As we started growing more of a following, we kind of thought to ourselves, okay, we want to take this a little more seriously. We want to maybe, we want to build a brand out of this. We want to keep creating and expanding on other platforms. But the problem we were looking at was, we don't want to be pigeonholed as like the handshake kids and like our whole brand is surrounded by handshakes, because I don't want to say it got stale, but it got to the point where we were like, okay, we don't want to just do handshakes. Like we can tell that we made so many handshake videos and we were like, okay, we got to do like more than just this if we want to continue to build this brand, which is something that down the line we decided we wanted to do. So that's like, as Mike was saying, we wanted to say, all right, let's find other ways to show our comedy, our humor, our that we're funny and we're more than just like this one handshake video, these couple of handshakes videos. So that's when we decided we would try to start expanding out of the handshakes and into other styles of comedy and into other series, of like dance moves and things like that, and like other jokes and skits. So that was more of like a business decision at that point, because we were like, we don't want to be pigeonholed and only be able to make videos around handshakes.
Okay. Because it might get oversaturated.
Right.
Okay. So that is looking at how you guys, moved from doing it for fun to taking it more serious, putting more time in, and considering it as, a viable career potentially.
Absolutely.
What I also I am interested is what were your plans for your future before that? I assume you guys maybe were studying or working somewhere else.
So I can just jump in real quick.
Yes.
I had graduated the University of Massachusetts Amherst in 2019 with a degree in finance. So I have a lot of interest in real estate investments, and all that. I still do. But my goal was to start investing in real estate, and I had a job in sales. So I was working in tech sales. I still have that job right now. But that was kind of my plans. I mean, was to just, I had a job, I was making money, and I was just hoping to kind of go from there. I didn't really have a set goal of where I wanted to take my corporate career. I knew that, it wasn't all that exciting. And then, as we start building this business, it's like, okay, how can I like kind of transition away from this? How can I do this? So, but my plans were pretty much to just continue working. I mean, nothing too crazy. I didn't have a set goal in mind, but that's where I was personally before we started seeing, the potential to do this full time.
Yeah. And so like I said, I played soccer up at college in New Hampshire, this small college, St. Anselm College. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was there it's a 4-year college, get my bachelor's. But yeah, so 2 years went by, freshman, sophomore year, great soccer season, great academics, blah, blah, blah. And then COVID hit and, like we got sent home. We're doing now all of our work on Zoom, on the computer, everything. I couldn't learn like that. Like it's tough. It's tough to like focus, pay attention. Yeah. And then as we started growing this brand, we started, started the snowball effect. We had a lot of momentum, a lot of community engagement, a lot of, we were making some money off deals, blah, blah, blah. And so I decided, it was a tough decision, but I decided not to go back because we had all this stuff going, and it really was a viable option to be like, hey, this can be a career. We are starting to look, at bigger things for the future. More. Yeah. So it was a tough decision, but I was going to school for business too, but I had no idea what I wanted to do with it. I never wanted to work a 9-to-5 job. I knew that. So, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be going to school paying X amount to pay loans off for a degree that I'm not going to use. And it was a tough decision, but I thought about it for months and months and made the decision not to go back. And I'm really excited with it. And it's been nothing but great.
One of the biggest things that stood out to me when I was talking to Mike about his decision was that he was like, dude, we got something good going. I don't want to regret going back to school, sitting in a class, like just sitting here and just like watching all of the hard work that we put in for the past 6-8 months, like just waste away while I'm sitting here studying for a degree that I don't really want, that I feel like I'm just doing to do. Like that was one thing. And he was like, dude, let's go all in. Let's take this opportunity. Let's take this chance and see where we can go with it. And then you can with the thought that you can always go back to school, you can always get a degree. You know what I mean? You can't always build up this brand and like really capitalize on all of this momentum on social media to make a full-time job out of it. So that was one of the biggest things that, that Mike's decision kind of showed me, was that, yeah, let's take a chance. Let's do it. This is something that you can't just, pick up in a year, like you kind of got to just really go after it. So
it's, I imagine it feels in that moment like a one in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was the thing with like, we had the engagement. It's like, hey, I'm going to go back to school, it was only like an hour away, but it's like, hey, we're going to go from posting, 1, 2, 3 TikToks a day to maybe 1 TikTok a week, and it's like, engagement would just start to sizzle, because like people would stop like paying attention. They'd be like, oh, my favorite creators. It's like, oh, they don't post that much anymore. Posting a YouTube video once a week to maybe once a month. All like Instagram, like all this, it would just slow down. When we had all this momentum going, it's like, hey, like this is legit. Like let's go for it. And it was a risk, but it's a calculated risk. It's been nothing but fun, nothing but great, and I've learned a lot more about growing a business and a brand these past 8 months to a year, or over a year now, than sitting in a classroom at school. I've been actually learning because I've been in it. I mean, the best way to learn is just by doing, so exactly. That's what I've been doing. We had our first t-shirt would drop, we learned a bunch about that, everything about that, sales, advertising, all like everything. So it's been nothing but great and learning. So I'm really happy with my decision. And also one thing that really helped with the decision was my parents were like really supportive too. They never doubted me. They never said, hey, because they're older, it's like they don't know as much like into the social media world, but they never said, hey, you sure it's a good decision? Like, you should probably go back and get your degree. Like, they never said that. They were like, hey, you're an adult, you're 21 years old. You want to make this decision. We're supportive, we're behind you. And that really, really helped, because I know not everyone's parents are like that, or parents are, because it's like, hey, oh, you guys make handshake videos, like what the heck? It's like, how are you going to make a career off that? Like, that doesn't seem feasible or anything. But it's like, no, and it wasn't just like, hey, like a small conversation. I had a long conversation, explaining everything, what we've done, what we've been doing, what we have in the future. So it's like, they're really supportive, which really helped, and it's been nothing but great. So
wow. So, I mean, good for you guys that because that was another thing I asked myself. It's how did your relatives or the people are close to you react to that and deal with it, as it's so much harder to make those decisions when everyone is like, I go for this safe option, right, which is normally college. So, but if your parents go for it, give it a shot. I mean, chapeau, great for that.
Absolutely,
nothing but greatness. No, but I feel like as well, it's still it's a brave move to kind of set on ice what we are all used to do, and it's go study and have a degree to pursue something that's very uncertain and where you don't know if it's gonna be successful, if you're gonna be able to make money out of it, live out of it, and potentially waste time, waste years, putting effort in that, and even investing as well, which you normally do in the beginning, right?
It's exciting. Oh, sorry about that. I want to cut you off.
No, you go for it.
I was going to say, it's exciting. Like you said, it's uncertain. Being a content creator isn't like a profession that's been around for 20 years. I mean, maybe like social media content creator, right? Like everything's changing, right? Okay, so but TikTok comes around a couple of years ago, and like all these new platforms are presenting themselves, and it's exciting because while you don't know like what the future holds, there's just so many opportunities that have presented themselves, that will present themselves, that like being in this scene and doing this for a living, like it's exciting, right? So it's uncertain, but there's a lot of things to be done and a lot of routes to take.
That was going back quickly along the terms of that, just making the risk to do that. The calculated risk was, I just didn't want to regret anything. I didn't want to, we have all this, and, people are DMing us, commenting on videos like, yo, you guys are my favorite creators. Like, I was having a bad day, watched your video. Like, thank you so much. I'm happy now. Like all this. And it's like, hey, when's the next video coming up? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hey, like, this is like pretty exciting that people are starting to pay attention to us.
Yeah.
People are becoming on a couple months ago started becoming on like first name basis, calling me Mike, calling him Henry. And before, it was just like, oh, the brothers, the Point Brothers, the Handshake Brothers. But now people like know Mike for Mike, Henry for Henry. Like, that was amazing. And it's just like, hey, I don't want to look back in like 5 years and be like, hey, wow, we could have done something with that. Like, but now I'm sitting here doing X, Y, Z. I'm like, hey, I'm 21 years old. It's like, hey, now's the time to do it. And it's been so exciting. Nothing better than being your own boss. That's one thing that my mom always has like ingrained in me. Like, that's like the goal. If you can be your own boss, you control what you do, have the creative freedom and so that's been pretty exciting.
No, but I reckon it does take a lot of courage. I mean, for everyone, it's a different experience, obviously. But it just, every time, it's sort of the reason I do this podcast as well. It's all these creative individuals, especially, all these sort of careers that are like not insecure, but like not safe. In the sense of, anything from illustrators to photographers to comedians, to, visual content creators. And it's, I think this is a very common, knowledge or mindset we have, that it takes a lot. And, only those who are brave and putting in the work will manage. And it's just, for you guys, it was maybe just like a hit that came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
But I feel like I've talked with many different creators already, and it's often like you have a passion in your heart, and you're unsure if you want to take the risk. Back in the days, like I studied physics for 2 years back in Spain, and I was unhappy. I wasn't glad with what I'm doing, and then like somehow by itself, the passion for photography came up. And, I stood in front of the same decision as you guys were last year or this year still, which is making the change, giving up something you've worked for almost your whole life, and starting something new. But, I think I can speak for both of us that making that decision, once you do it, you realize how good that decision was.
Absolutely.
Because you feel so great afterwards.
Right. Happiness
this was good.
Yeah, it does.
If not, you would know. If like you did the decision, you regret it right away. It's like, okay, maybe it was dumb.
Yeah.
But I think the instant feedback right away afterwards, is very honest. So there's that. I'm glad we touched on that. Speaking about the content you guys create, I just had to remember how I actually got to know you guys, because it was through, it was through Instagram, not through TikTok, but it was just recommended to me in the feed, right? Because it got so viral, so it came all the way to Europe, and I loved it right away. Like, the content is very amusing. It hits a very specific type of humor, and I think one of the first one was actually I saw the handshakes first.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much. Sent it to a friend. I was like, okay, we need to do this. And like, then we have been developing our own shit. And it's like, just getting out of hand. But I feel like these kind of it's kind of a sign that works. And at the same time, I feel like for you guys, it must be also good to hear that, people,
it's really exciting. Like when we see people tag other friends, like, yo, we need a handshake, or we definitely have to try this, because that's kind of why we do it, because we think it's fun, and we love, like, handshakes are fun. And the thing about handshakes is, like, anyone can understand, even if you don't speak English, like, we speak English primarily, that you don't need to know that to understand our videos, to appreciate like the humor that are in those handshake videos. And that's why I think they've become so popular, is because you can send them anywhere and you know what's going on, right? So it's not like it's directed at the the US audience that we live in. it's a lot of fun, and I think it builds friendship, it builds community. It's fun. It's like that's the one thing that I really love about that content. I think that's why it's one of the reasons why they've become really popular. Yeah,
it's universal, right? Anyone,
right?
It's not or it's not bounded to a certain language, right? So you already said that you tried to not focus too much on a certain type of video, so you tried to diversify as much as you could. As you mentioned before as well, I think it was Henry. I'm not sure if it was Henry or Mike. You mentioned already, you recently, for example, dropped your first T-shirt. So you're trying to grow out of social media, diversifying your business. So how is that going?
It's been going really well. We decided we didn't want to release a T-shirt too early. You see a lot of creators, after they make one viral video or two viral videos, they'll just make it as much merchandise as they can. They'll slap there's something on a coffee mug, a car keys lanyard, all this stuff. I'm it doesn't really sit well with us. They try to sell all this stuff. It's who's really gonna buy a phone, an Android phone case with your merch? It's just
it feels like a kind of I don't say get rich quick type of thing, but it just doesn't feel genuine when you see these creators that'll slap a saying on a phone case or something like that. But
so we wanted to create a T-shirt, and we didn't want to create it as almost the way we looked at it is not like merchandise, where we didn't want to put our profile picture on it or something like that. We wanted to make it our goal. One of our main goals was to make it a T-shirt so that even if you don't know who we are, you still look at it and oh, that's a neat T-shirt. I would wear that. That's cool. Yeah. That was our goal. So it's not just just held down or bounded to just our audience. We want to be able to hey, if you walked into the mall to your favorite store, oh, that's a sweet shirt, and but it's the Pointer Brothers. So that was our main goal, and I think that's going to be our main goal going forward. So it's not just held down, and we worked with some outside people, some artists, graphic designers, and came up with a T-shirt, and really excited and went through the whole process of it.
Yeah, it was exciting because we'd never set up a shop or done any of this online sales before. We never sold anything, so the whole experience was new to us. We taking a step back. I want to say about 8 months ago, end of January, maybe beginning of February, we started working with a manager. So that I mean, we could talk about that in a little bit because that's a big story in itself. But he has had experience. Kevin has had experience with online sales and building websites and things like that. So that was a huge help in having someone that understood how this worked and we buying inventory and getting them printed. We got them locally printed, all this stuff. We wanted to make sure that we were creating the best product for our audience, for our community as possible. So we went through extra steps to do that, buying the T-shirts, bringing them to a local place to get screen printed, and then individually packing them and shipping them away. One thing that we did, which was kind of fun, we said that everyone that buys a shirt in the first 24 hours that our shop is live, we will handwrite them a poem. So we were just all right, how many people are going to buy a T-shirt in 24 hours? We've never sold anything. It's just a trial run. Maybe we'll sell 25 shirts. And I think we ended up writing somewhere around 75 poems, which was we sold 75 orders, which I think was maybe a few more than 75 shirts. But that, we sat there for a couple of days and just hand wrote a couple poems and, a couple poems a day. And that was something that was really fun because we could tell that people were excited about that.
It's on brand.
Right. Because it's all, the poems are goofy and the whole
promotion
is something that was on brand. Like Mike said, for us was just oh, we'll write you a poem.
Poems made no sense.
Right. Who does that? Who would do that? So that was cool. And seeing the feedback that people said, oh, I love the poem. Or someone DM'd us and said, I'm reading the poem to my third grade class. And I was oh yeah, that was so funny.
That was cool.
So, we thought that was a lot of fun. And that was just another way for us to grow our community and show that we care about what we're doing. And we're not just trying to make a quick buck that we wanted to make sure that we didn't come off we were just trying a money grab.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You want to give the impression, the idea that you're creating, your interest is more rather in how it's called quality rather than quantity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And delivering, top quality product. I really like the logo as well, which is the two. It represents you two, I guess. The skeletons doing like I don't know, like sort of like a handshake.
Yeah. It was like kind of like they're pointing at each other.
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
Should I go grab one? I don't have one with me. I can go get one though. It'd be fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, be right back.
And that was kind of like, so the skeleton idea wasn't even us. We went out to this and we looked through a bunch of portfolios of all the artists, chose somebody that we liked their style. And we kind of said, hey, we wanted a couple features in it, like maybe like pointing, the beanies, because what we do is we wear a lot of like the beanies, the rolled up beanies over our ears in the video.
Oh, nice.
And that kind of became a staple. So he just did a great job.
Yeah. So this is the. Can you see it right?
Oh yeah, sweet.
There you go. That's it right there.
Nice.
So yeah, like Mike was saying, the beanies kind of play a little bit into our identity as the Pointer Brothers.
And we wanted to also have like our name on there somewhere, but we didn't want to make it big. So we actually have it on the back. You can't really see it. But
all right.
Yeah. So it's around the back. So we wanted to be like, nothing in your face, because we wanted to make the main focus to just be
it's more discreet.
Discreet, yeah. So, but yeah, we wanted it on there, put it like around the neck, and so I thought that was a great spot for it.
All right, sweet. As you said, you went to different artists and you picked one that you enjoyed this style, and they made it individually for you, right?
Yeah.
Right, sweet. It has sort of like it has like a cartoonish feel to it.
Yep. Definitely.
Because we sat down and like a lot of thought kind of went into where we wanted to go with this and how we wanted to portray our brand, and the font that we used for the Pointer Brothers on the back. Like a lot, like we were very thoughtful about it. And like you said, cartoonish. It's like fun. It's entertaining. It's warm. Like that's the vibe we wanted to give off. And I think that we were able to portray that with our logo. With our design.
Clearly. I mean, a good logo is the one that represents the idea behind the brand of the company. So no, when I saw it right away, I have designed a few. I'm not a designer, but for myself, for my podcast, for example, I've designed my own logo, and so I read a few books about it, and when I saw yours, I because once you see a few videos of you, you get an idea as a viewer, and I feel like the logo does resemble it really well. So
absolutely,
great choice on that.
Thank you.
You mentioned your manager. Has that to do with? I saw on the website it says managed by Artboard. Has that to do with it, or is it independent?
Yeah, so that's the management company that we are signed to. So we work with Kevin, and he created Artboard Media. So we work essentially under Artboard Media. That, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna get a little background on how it all started.
Okay, you want to go?
So
that was one of the main factors that kind of pushed us into taking TikTok and content creation more seriously, because we were at the time, I think we were at 150,000 followers maybe on TikTok. I don't even know if we had Instagram. Maybe we did. Maybe we had a couple hundred followers on Instagram at the time. And Kevin reached out to us. He DM'd us and was like, hey, have you ever thought of working with a manager? Do you work with a manager? Anything like that? And the two of us were like, what? Like, why would we do that? Like, we don't.
Such a foreign concept to us.
It was also just like, why would anyone want to manage us? Like, it's just like we're essentially just getting started, like
we're just making like stupid videos.
And that was the thing, right? Exactly. And we thought about it, and then we were like, oh, okay, maybe this would make sense. Maybe this sounds good. This sounds like something that would help us go take this more seriously. And sure enough, we started working with Kevin, and we were able to really level up our content and our brands. And I know Mikey has something to say.
Why would someone need a manager?
So I think he really helped us, or I'd say if someone were to need a manager, like he's really helped us like read through like deals and contracts, just because like, you know, me and him, to our eye, reading something might seem totally fine, and him reading it be like, no, this is a red flag in the contract. Like definitely, like they're trying to take advantage of you. You know, they're gonna. So it's been really helpful, like in that sense.
We've had. It's funny how these huge meme pages and content pages really. It feels like they're taking advantage of smaller creators, because they'll send over. We've had a bunch of our videos get noticed by these pages, and they'll say, hey, you know, we want to post this to our account that has like 20 million followers on, let's say, Instagram. And you're like, that's so exciting. That's some great exposure. And then they're like, okay, but just sign this contract. And they'll send over a 15-page contract. And you're essentially giving them permission to monetize your content. We wouldn't get a dime, and they make tens of thousands of dollars off of our videos. And we would get like a little exposure in return. And it's having a manager and someone that's kind of like looking out for you and is able to say like, yeah, you know, that would be nice. But at the end of the day, you need to think about long term. If you're signing over the rights to this content, you don't own it anymore. And in a year and 2 years, like this could come back to bite. Like, wow, being a small creator, it's easy to think that, hey, getting all this exposure might lead to something great. The pros and the cons you have to weigh out there. It's like, is it really going to be that beneficial for, you know, X amount of people to see it if you're going to be signing away the content that you've worked so hard to create? So having someone to kind of read through that and point that out and negotiate on our behalf with brands and manage like the businessy side of it is a huge reason and is a huge help working with a content or, you know, a manager.
Yeah, and one like it was funny because before he reached out to us, some of the only stuff we were doing, like I remember the very first like video we did for money, like for monetization, was just, you know, like some rapper hitting us up on Instagram. Hey, how much for me or to use how much for you guys to use my sound in your video? You know, because that's like one of the biggest things on TikTok is using sounds, and we're like, we had no idea how to price it. How do we price it? What are we worth? No idea. So we didn't know. So I'm pretty sure, I forget how much we said, like $100. And he's like, oh, absolutely. And we had no idea.
We were going nuts.
We're going nuts. We're like, dude, somebody wants to pay us money to use their son. So we're like, dude, we're definitely going in the right direction. Yeah. But that happened maybe twice with two different people. And then, so that was like the only real like money. And then Kevin, once we got him and we started growing and growing, you know, people would start sending contracts over, which was still like a foreign concept. Like, oh, like a contract for like a video, like that's weird. So he, you know, reads through it all, make sure to like, yo, this is a good one, this is a bad one, or this one does fit our brand well, this one absolutely doesn't fit our brand well. Like we shouldn't do that. So making sure to keep it brand friendly and make it sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that we are fortunate to be working with Kevin, because he also is very invested in our future and where we want to go. So it's not like, you know, we just talk to him when we get a deal. It's a lot of like, hey, we want to grow our YouTube channel. We want to become better actors and more creative on this side of the platform. And Kevin's able to take from his experiences and kind of just sit down with us and talk about becoming better actors and talk about writing better skits and funnier skits and the reason why jokes land, why some jokes don't. And like, it's a lot more than just like a management. It's like a management, also like I don't want to say like a teacher, but like
it's someone that takes you sort of by the hand.
Exactly. And I feel like we're fortunate there, because I don't know how other social media managers work, but you know, there's huge companies that manage creators and I feel like we get a lot of
we get that support. We get that, and then we get that personal connection. And like that, you know, we text every day. We have a big group chat. We text, and it's like, I mean, Kevin's in the other room right now. We're all in Florida. We all live in different places. Okay. He's from North Carolina. We're from Massachusetts. We're in Florida right now, just for 2 weeks, just doing a creative, like, you know, camp, I guess. And, you know, we're just here making content in the nice weather. The beach is right there that we're looking at. We're just,
I can imagine it by the picture behind you guys.
So we're just here in the nice weather, learning. Kevin's teaching us so much stuff, kind of like a master class he's running, because he graduated with a bunch of degrees, you know, like entrepreneurship, filmmaking, acting, like all that stuff. So he's teaching us that. And, just nice to be in the nice weather to do all this stuff and learn, create content, create YouTube, all that. So it's been really good. So it's like, we have that. That's probably one of the biggest things is that personal connection, knowing that he's going to answer the phone every time. Knowing it's like, hey, Kev, can you please take the watermark out of this video? We want to post it. Boom. He gets it back to us within a minute. Quick questions, quick editing. Hey, can you edit this one part? Boom, back to us. So it's been really great. Nothing but greatness with him.
No, it's been great. I think building a team is something that we've found value in. We have a buddy of ours who films and edits a lot of our YouTube content with us, and he's got great camera equipment. He's got all the lighting. He's got he knows how to use Adobe Premiere, which is a software that Mike and I have no experience in. But I think that building a team and getting people to help you with the things that we're not good at is huge. It saves us a lot of time. It really makes our content much better than I think it could be if it was just Mike and I. So, we bring the creative aspect, the ideas and all that stuff. And then we have those who are good at editing and managing and we have them surrounding us to help us really create the best stuff that we can.
I'm quite, I would say, impressed because you guys managed to understand something that many businesses don't understand. Just actually, those succeed who even though they might know or think to know how to do something better, they still give work to other people. And another thing is you can't know and learn everything, right? It's good to have decent, competent people around you. Everyone has their own specialty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what they're good at, and working as a team is way more productive.
Yeah.
So I'm great, you guys, doing that. I'm sure you must have received different propositions from different managers as well. So that's maybe another point to see. Okay, how do I decide which manager is better? Right, which is like, okay, that's a good question.
We had after, so Kevin was the first one to reach out to us, and then probably like a couple months later, another one reached out to us, and then we've had like a handful of them reach out to us, but we're like, hey, we're really content with where we're at right now. We're currently have a manager, so it wasn't kind of like all at once, but there have been people interested, and it kind of like, but it's like a nice feeling though to show that people like see the potential and want to like manage you and want to be a part of what you're doing. So it's like it makes you think, oh, I'm doing something. We're doing something right, So
moving forward, I saw on the website there it says you partnered up with a bunch of different companies, doing some promotional videos as well. I saw I think with Sony, I think with what was it? I wrote it down, with G Fuel, Uber Eats. So how's that been this year?
It's been pretty exciting. We have been working with different brands to organically promote content and sponsored posts and things like that. With Sony, we've kind of got a thing going where they'll send us songs and then we will just use them in our videos, which is great because it kind of leaves the creativity of the content up to us as long as we can integrate the song into the video. So that's one of the biggest things for us is being able to create these ads and create these videos that are organic to us and that don't seem forced or don't seem unauthentic and don't feel like an ad, because I think that's the biggest challenge as a content creator and promoting products and things on these platforms is trying to provide value with the videos without making them feel like an ad, So
that are being sold to.
Right, exactly. So you watch a video, you're like, oh, this is really funny, but then at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, well, there's a product in here, like, a little product placement or something like that. So it's like, so we, one ad that kind of sticks out was one that we did for this company CrossNet. And we just created the video of us just playing the game. So it's essentially like a backyard game. It's like a volleyball type of game.
Yes.
We we created this video in our style, just doing, what we've been doing, what we know works. And that video ended up getting like 10 million views, which was crazy because it was at the end of the day, we were showcasing the product, but we also made a video in an authentic style that if you might not have even thought too much about the product in it. You just appreciated what we brought to the table.
You see the power behind that as well in the result.
Came to mind. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. Yeah. But did these companies reach out to you? Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So these companies did reach out, like G Fuel, that was, none of these were like really like long-term, but they were like, like a couple videos short, so working together with them. So it wasn't like signing like a 6-month contract like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they reached out to us, it's like, hey, X amount of videos for X amount. And yeah, it was good because these companies are like more like recognized, and more legit. Like G Fuel, that's like the major drink of esports, of e-gaming. And the Uber Eats with this Cosmic Wings, which is like this wings company that was launching, and there's still a thing nationwide. So they reached out to us, hey, you make a video. So they all reached out to us, and they're all more like one-time videos, a couple videos here and there. So we were really excited, when we get these in our Instagram DMs, seeing like, oh, these companies, like, wow, like, yeah, G Fuel, that's pretty legit. Like, oh, like, so.
All right. So recapping a bit, so you guys have going on your social media game, which is, you started on TikTok, but now you're expanding, I'd say, to other platforms like Instagram, YouTube, I think Snapchat as well.
Yeah, we've kind of started on TikTok, and like you said, we've grown our Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. We've also tried to get into Twitch a bit in streaming, and we've tried to use that as a way to engage our audience as well and build a community. But we find that TikTok's a great funnel. At the end of the day, you can be essentially discovered by millions of people. And if you can take that and then bring them to other platforms where you can monetize your content better and kind of create different content, and show your audience other things, then we've been trying to do that. So
yeah, one of the biggest things for growing our Instagram was Instagram Reels, which is in I don't know the word, but it's like the same as TikTok, like the algorithm, it's a short form, you can swipe on them, and that has been nothing. Yeah. So it's been, we take our TikToks and we just, you can download them without the watermark and then upload them to Instagram. And that has been nothing but great for us. Instagram Reels has helped us grow immensely. So that's like a nice little, it's a nice feature to have with the Reels, because it's like the algorithm of TikTok where anybody can see it. Instead of like if you do a normal Instagram post, a static post, your follower is going to see it. Maybe a couple of people on the Explore page or something like that, but it's mostly your followers. So that's been really great for us, is the Instagram Reels feature, because we also make separate content every now and then for TikTok, behind the scenes IGTV videos. But so we take our TikTok and it's a 2-for-1, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Post on TikTok, post on Instagram, same video. And sometimes we do have people who don't have TikTok but have Instagram. So they don't see all of our TikTok videos. They don't see it. So it goes both ways. So people are seeing it for the first time on Instagram. People are seeing it for the first time on TikTok. So it's been really great.
All right. So you guys, as I said, are trying to, take over and see where your content works on all these different platforms, together with, working on merch. So I'm seeing those two sort of like the main pillars you guys are working on, together with, partnering up and, financial, how do you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My English broke.
Financially.
Yeah. How to finance all that. And I'm interested in what are your are those two pillars the main ones you're focusing on for the next few years as well? Is that your plan, or how is it looking in the future?
Yeah. So did you say, just to recap, you say just growing on the platforms and then the merchandise? Is that, so I think
or is there anything else as well you want to expand?
So I think our big goals obviously is always to grow and continue to grow, but mostly we want to grow YouTube. So YouTube, we haven't posted a video in probably like over a month. And but before that, we posted 10 videos because we had a meeting, with our manager, us. We really wanted to take a step back and think about what do we want our YouTube videos to be, because before we had ideas of what we wanted to do. We'd go film them. And then with whatever content we got, we would make a YouTube video. Yeah. But now we wanted to have a more in-depth process, know what we're going to do, know the title of the video before we go and film it, know what the thumbnail is going to be. So then you can have it's like a storyline, so you bring people along with your story, and it's more engaging, more interesting, more bits to it. So we really want to focus on growing YouTube, and because YouTube in the long run, TikTok, you never know what's going to happen with TikTok. It's going to be here for a while, but you never know. Like all of a sudden in a year, it could be gone. But YouTube is never going anywhere. Instagram's never going anywhere. So we want to really grow our YouTube and really grow our community. Is how can we grow our community? Say all of our followers were to stop right now. How can we increase engagement? If we were not get a single more follower, how can we still increase engagement? So that's one thing we're working on. We're going live. We're doing these things, Instagram talent shows we've been doing, which is a pretty neat thing where people.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So just something we just created. We've never seen it before. So it's, we go Instagram live. People request to come in and they do a talent of anything. And we've had people come in and sing, people do backflips, people drew a picture of us. That was crazy. Comedy, freestyle rapping. So it's like kind of cool. And like, it gives that community where people who are watching it are commenting like, yo, she was a really good singer. Or like that kid's like, yo, that kid's jokes are hilarious. So everyone, and they're staying, and we have a bunch of people, anywhere from like 100 to 200 people always in the live watching the talent shows. So we also haven't done a talent show in a couple of weeks because we also took a minute like, hey, because it was a little unorganized because we had the idea of doing it and we just accepted everyone. Some people would be going for like 3 minutes and we're like, wait, that's kind of a little too long because like people might lose interest. So like, hey, so we're really close to being done with like the organization, maybe people come on, you have 30 seconds to do this. Yeah. And then the next person, then people vote at the end. So that's one of our big, goals too is just growing community, knowing people's names, seeing them in the comments, acknowledging them. And and the talent shows on Instagram are one of the biggest things that that are just fun to do on our end, and people love them, so I know that. So growing YouTube, growing community. Do you want to touch on anything I missed or what you think too?
I think like Mikey's saying, growing our social channels is our main priority. We also are looking to drop our second our second merch drop. So that's something that we're working on right now. We're looking to design some hoodies, and we've been working with another artist to create another design. So that's something that we're in the works. We're not rushing that yet. We don't have a set date on when we want to release those, but that is definitely another pillar that we're focused on, is creating the apparel and just creating that line, just as a source of revenue, but also because we like to do it. We enjoy designing, or we enjoy kind of fashion and clothes and things like that. Yeah. We've always loved the idea. It's
fun wearing the brand.
Right. It's absolutely cool to see somebody wear something that you made, or somebody buy something that you made. So that's one of the bigger things too. And it's cool to see. Sorry to cut you off, but like it shows, when you're doing it behind the scenes, that it's a long process. It's not just like, hey, make a design in one day, go to like, customink.com and print out t-shirts or something like that. It's months, finding the right artist. And maybe they make you some designs that you're not the biggest fan of. And it's like, all right, we got to go to a different artist. And then, realizing what type of t-shirts or do we have to do?
Yeah, the fabric,
what type of t-shirts?
sizing.
So you get samples. So we have a bunch of sweatshirt samples right now, trying on. Putting them through the washer machine. Are they going to shrink? Are they not? So it's a whole process. Then finding where you want to get them printed, shipping, setting up an international store. That our manager Kevin really helped us do, was setting up an international store, because if we didn't do it through that way, if we shipped them from US international, the shipping would have been crazy amount. Like you could have bought a t-shirt for $25 and the shipping's like 50 or 60 bucks. So so we created a different website. So that's one of our biggest things is learning. It's a long process, months, and it pays off at the end, so it's been great, and really growing that, the apparel, the fashion, making something that we would wear and we really enjoy, and getting it out there to people.
Yeah, that's something you have been investing, time and money in lately. So All right, nothing but goodness there. So is it mainly like t-shirts and like sweats? How's it called?
It has been right now. We're still in the early stages. We're still trying to figure everything out. We did that one t-shirt. We did some stickers too, which was kind of fun. A couple of little fun designs we tossed in with the orders.
A little sticker on the back of my phone.
Yeah, so you have the design. But primarily that's what it's been. You know, we've thought about getting into like caps and beanies and hats and other things like that. But we want to make sure we have our designs in the content in the content of the artwork. We want to make sure we have the artwork down before we kind of dive into it.
And I think like one of the most relatable like things is t-shirts, sweatshirts. You know, like you see people like when they're way big, creating like pants or sweatpants or shorts, and they're cool. But I feel like as the more we grow and the more community and the more engagement and all that is like when like we could start creating, because we love fashion, love dressing up. So it's like, we could create a cool pair of shorts that's like, has like our logo on it. But we think right now is just taking it, like simple right now, t-shirts, sweatshirts, because that's relatable. People, everyone's wearing a t-shirt, everyone's wearing a sweatshirt, not everyone wants to buy socks, with our logo or shorts or pants right now. So, taking it slow, but growing and making sure we're doing it the right way.
All right, sweet. So far it sounds good. I mean, in terms of long-term goals, I hear just, growing mainly, see where it goes. Nothing maybe too specific. I don't hear like goals like, okay, in 2 years, I want to manage to have sold at least these many pieces of clothing, or I want to have reached this many followers.
Yeah. I think right now it's growth. It's just growth and growing our community. So making sure that we're consistently engaging our community and growing the amount of people that are like real fans, real true fans. That's pretty much it. I mean, we've been thinking about starting up a podcast. So we're in talks with this app Call-In, which is a podcasting app. And we've been in talks about starting our own show, which is something that we're really excited about. And that also would go on to grow our community. And that's just another avenue and another form of content, another side of the Pointer Brothers that that we would be able to express in a different way. But that's like nothing like super specific right now as far as goals. I mean, I think I'm interested. Sorry.
Well, I think just in general, like long-term, like we said, it's growing all socials, growing YouTube, but, and also one of the biggest things I know in Henry, too, is, just being smart with money, financially smart. And I know, like Henry said, investing in real estate, as we continue to grow, invest in some real estate. I know he especially does want to, on his own, but too, you never know what that, like be able to be smart with money, because you hear about all these people, growing up, either these rappers or athletes where it's like, they think they have all this money. And then next thing you know, boom, it's gone. Like they're in trouble. So early on being smart, investing in smart things. And that's a big thing too, is making the money work for you, while you're not doing anything.
I think there's a saying like, don't put all your eggs in the same basket, right?
Exactly. Right. So that is So that's like a long-term goal too.
The idea of the podcast, I mean, we talked about it briefly before we started, is great. I think people are really keen to that more and more, and I'm sure your audience will appreciate that. Is that I don't know that app specifically you have been talking about, but have you thought about, actually, putting out in the major podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well?
Yeah, we have a lot to really flush out with the whole idea. So we're still in the beginning stages of it. But that's something down the line, we would eventually be interested in. I think that we're going to make sure that it's something we're able to record. So the app itself is specific. It's audio. It's just an audio app, and we're just trying to think of ways to promote it and grow the podcast. So we haven't gotten too deep into into all of that. But it does sound like something that would be worthwhile to do. So
I mean,
still a lot to figure out.
Yeah, fuck me. Like when I started with the idea of doing a podcast, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like I had no clue either, and it takes a lot of time to develop not only like how do you want it, to look and feel like, but also content and often and where and how and understanding how the podcast actually works. How the episodes go live. How do you publish that? And where do you publish a podcast? But you can't upload on Spotify. Right. That's what I thought in the beginning. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just have a Spotify account and I'll upload my podcast episodes. No. Not really. So there's a learning curve to that. But having people on your team that know key things like lighting, sound editing, video editing, all of that. That is very important to make it look and sound professional. And because, for podcasting, sound is everything. If it sounds trash, no one will hear it. It's just
exactly.
There's that one thing I forgot to ask, which is personal question that I'm interested in, is why you guys actually name yourself the Pointer Brothers.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a really good question. I think that so when we started, we were just making videos for fun. We had no intentions to create this brand or really to go anywhere with it. And the Pointer Brothers is a reference to a skit by one of our favorite comedians, Tim Robinson. He's on Saturday Night Live. He's been on all these different shows and things like that. He's got Netflix shows. But I think we had just watched this one episode where, there were these characters that were called the Pointer Brothers. And it was just something that was in our head at the time. And we were like, yeah, all right, we'll go with that. It was just one night, what should we call the account? And, I couldn't have cared less. Mike was just, typing in this stuff and we just went with that. And
that was when we had, like 0 followers.
We had no followers.
The whole skit is like, it's at like they're in an auditorium or at like a venue. And the Pointer Brothers come out and everyone thinks it's like a band a band. And they come out and all they do is they just point at people.
Literally point at, that's their act. It's like they point at their audience.
So it's like a goofy, it's a sketch comedy. So we love that. And we were like, hey, randomly just go with that, not thinking anything of it. So, and then it just stuck. And then, we didn't even think about changing it as we were growing.
I thought for a second that it might be because, maybe your names, your surname is actually Pointer, because I don't know if you know that, but there's actually a music group called the Pointer Sisters.
Right. We found out kind of, down the line about the Pointer Sisters because people would make references to that. And we were like, what is that? And sure enough, we found out that they are a music group. And it's funny, when we do sign some contract, or when people send over contracts and send over, your packages of things, it's oftentimes addressed to Henry and Mike Pointer. And most people more often than not do assume that is our last name, which is reasonable. It's not like
nice try.
right. So it's kind of where we came up with that. Nothing too exciting, but but that's that.
I'm from this comedian. His name was Tim. What?
Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson. I've heard that name before. I'm sure I've seen. I don't know his face right now, but
he's a very, very particular sense of humor, and he does a lot of a lot of mannerisms.
Yeah, I gotta check him out for sure.
Faces and the things that he does, it's an inspiration to us and our content, and it all just kind of came together. So
all right, no, but I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy, especially in the US. So and there's so many of them. I just know a handful. Like Dave Chappelle and all of these guys. But definitely check him out as well. All right, great. I want another important matter I wanted to tackle with you guys, which is near to my heart and to the podcast. It's the matter of creativity. right? The question of what that big word means to you guys, and also how it affects your work and how you know, in your daily content.
Yeah. When I think of creativity, I think of, from a personal standpoint, I think of creating content that's original to us, that makes us stand out. So I think about like how can we be creative in a way that no one else is, and I think that we're able to bring humor, and we're able to just. Yeah, sorry. I'm hacking up a lung. Like he's over here battling something.
That G Fuel was tasty. It's like just cash is slipping it in.
Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought there.
Sorry. You were saying that for you, it kind of is important to be original in a sense. Separate.
I think that's our biggest thing is being original and just being genuine and creating content that we enjoy creating, that we're proud of, that we create for ourselves and for our community. So that's kind of what I got right now. Mike, what do you?
Yeah, I agree.
I want to take over.
My mind's in a blender right now.
That's
all of a sudden, I'm like,
all right.
Yeah, creativity. I mean, I just think, you know, it's not staying to one niche or one sort of type of video or anything. It's everything, you know, making all different types of videos, different styles. How can we combine styles? One of the big things on TikTok is trends. You see trends on TikTok all the time. So, and they do really well. So we do some like the trends sometimes, not like we don't do like the dances and all that stuff. Like, but it's like, how can we, and you see the trend all the time and people do it like mostly the same way, but it's like, how can we take that trend and just totally like have it still be the trend, but like shape it into our type of video, our content, where it just has a weird twist or it has a funny twist that nobody saw coming, and they do pretty well. So like, that's one of like, is just being creative with that. It's not just doing the trend and maybe trying to like make it funnier because you emphasize one thing. It's like, hey, how can we put our twist on it? Our sense of creative twist. And yeah, I just think being creative, you know, is just all sorts of styles of videos, incorporating all different elements. And just being original too.
What I hear is you get inspired by these trends, and you try your best to, you know, give your very personal touch to them.
Yes. How can we take the norm and kind of flip it on its head? You know, how can we take something that's been created by so many people and tweak it in a way that is original to us, you know, give it our own little spin. So that's, I think, one thing that definitely plays into those trends that we've been creating.
Okay. And do you have like a creative process when you do that? Or do you have like, how you call it? There was a name for that. Brainstorm sessions, for example.
So when we're thinking about making videos, I mean, as far as like a process of making videos, we're always consistently writing down ideas in our phone, in our notes, if we ever think of one. And a lot of the things actually being creative, I guess, to us is wherever we are, whatever happens to us, our minds are always thinking of like video. Like, so we were out to eat yesterday, like getting a burger, and like something happened. We're like, dude, that would be an incredible idea for a video. We could do this, blah, 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 put it. Yeah. So it's like everywhere we are, we'll be watching TV and someone will say something, or it's like, dude, that would be a funny sketch. Like, so our minds are always thinking, and like we film these videos like that. We think on the spot because we're like, hey, that would be hilarious. And because sometimes it's hard to just be like, all right, let's sit down right now and just brainstorm ideas. And you can, and we can do that. But like, you're just sitting there and you know, you're thinking, and it's hard to get the juices flowing. So a lot of the videos we make are from personal experiences or just stuff that happens in the moment. It's like, hey, that would be a funny idea. We'll write it down. We'll come back to it later. Or sometimes we'll film it in the moment and like do something.
Yeah, definitely drawing inspiration from personal experience, from real life experiences that we have, and trying to make them relatable, you know, because I think that's what people are able to appreciate in our comedy and comedy in general. Is like being able to relate to something. You know, we make a big joke about being brothers, being siblings, something he does, he says, and there's other people out there that are like, oh my God, my brother does that all the time. You're like this, like being able to take our real life experiences and create relatable content.
It reminds me of, well, it's not a slogan, but it was sort of like a goal or like a motto. It's on the website as well. It says something like, our goal is to make people laugh, and like, but then it says to make them appreciate it in their own way as well, or something like that. That's not that wording, but similar.
I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I gotta look over it again. But yeah, make people like when they see the content, you know, is and also like one of our big things. Our manager Kevin helps us with too. Is like make content that like either makes people laugh or maybe it makes people cry. You know, it gives them a certain emotion because it's doing something. But and then appreciating the content, like I guess, it just like Henry said, like relatable. I feel like the older brother, younger brother aspect, you know, where people like appreciate the comedy with like, yo, my brother always gives me a hard time for doing this. And like, you know, makes you really appreciate where it's like, wow, everyone's going through the same thing, or like it's relatable. I know how to say it. I'm having trouble trying to explain it, but
it's hard to put in words feelings. Right?
Yeah. do you know, like, do you have any idea? It's kind of the same, right? Just being relatable. People.
What I just wanted to mention is that sentence kind of like it just reminded me of just the intention you just portrayed.
Absolutely.
Another thing that I feel like needs maybe some thought provoking as well is what would you say to, you know, the all these kids or the younger generation that is coming, that are like maybe 5 to 10 years younger than us, that are, I feel like, born with a phone in their hands. What are you telling them, seeing maybe your content and seeing that thrive, seeing you guys potentially making a living out of it?
One of my biggest things is like, don't take it too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. And especially with TikTok and things like that, it's hard to, or I feel like there's such high expectations. If someone's like, I want to start a TikTok account, I want to get millions of views. It's like, it doesn't. I
have a good way to put it. I think the way you said it in a recent interview we did is, don't have the intention making videos to go viral. Do something original. I don't know if that.
You're right. That was kind of a separate point, but it's a similar point. Is like create content that you want to create, that you enjoy creating. That even if you don't go viral or you don't get millions of views, like you still have fun. You still appreciate the process. Yeah. So that's why it's almost like don't do it for the wrong reasons. Like if we came into it thinking like, oh, you know, we got to be content creators, I want to go viral doing this stuff. Like, I don't think we would have as much fun creating the content because we originally started just creating the content for ourselves. Cause we were like, dude, this is so funny. This is so goofy. We love it. We have so much fun filming it. We have so much fun watching it back and editing it. And I feel like if you're in it for the wrong reasons, it's not going to be fun, you know, and it's not going to be natural.
Getting tired.
And you're going to burn out, or you're not going to appreciate the process. And that's kind of that would be my advice, is just have fun with it. You know, don't judge your happiness based upon the outcome of the views or the likes or anything like that. Like, you need to have fun while you're doing it. You're in it for the wrong reasons. You know, that's what I would say. And I think that's easier said than done. For a lot of people. And that's I guess where I come back to, like, don't take things too seriously. Like, be able to have fun, and don't let the views, the likes, don't let that dictate your happiness. And I know that's a big problem, and that can be getting into people's head. Yeah, right.
It's that trap because it's like a big dilemma, right? I totally agree with you. It's a great point. Even if you do it for the likes, you might still succeed, but it does feel different in the end for yourself.
Right.
Might be us feel accomplished or happy about it. But then it's like this balance between I don't do it for the success, but without success I can't really do it.
Right.
So it's a problem with social media, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's no, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah.
One of the things I have, if you, like, your question is like for kids starting and growing, I know I mentioned the other day too, is when you want to grow, you can like, it's always going to be trial and error too with videos and with different styles of videos.
Yeah.
Still is with us. We have our certain niches and we have a bunch of different style of videos that do well for us, but we always want to create different style videos. It's like, hey, I'm going to create 3 of this style. And if they all don't do well, it's like, all right, maybe I take a step back and I do a different style. And, it's all trial and error. It's always going to be. And so for people starting to create or want to create, it's, find that niche, create different types of content, see what works for you and be like, oh, how can I make this again in a different way? Or how can I make this same style of video? And, and people appreciate that. So that's kind of, what we found. It's like, it's like, find that, trial and error, find your niche and just keep rolling with that niche and just see how many different styles you can make that do well. And so, but also comes down to like, have fun with it. So find something that you enjoy doing and keep trying to grow. So that's what I would say.
No, I find that, it's, I always find myself in that same problem again, and I was trying to figure out for myself, like, or trying to understand it more. I don't know, kind of feel like stuck sometimes.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I feel like that it's great points that we brought up here, that the kids need to be aware of and need to be clear about. And I mean, you guys, not only say that, but you put it to practice as well, right? You did those videos in the beginning, not for the followers, not for that potential growth, but just for the fun, for the sake of the game. So, and if you're lucky, and your content, is accepted by the community, cool, good, great for you. And then it works fine. If it doesn't, all right, give it a change, try to something different. Or maybe it's not for you. Right. Because I think that's important to say it as well, because this game isn't for everyone.
Right? Yeah. Right.
At least that's how I feel it. All right, great. So summing up shortly here, I feel like I've kind of worked through all the points that were important for me right now. We've talked about your origins and what were your plans before you kind of hit let's say jackpot, and how the opportunity changed your future decisions or what you want to maybe do in life. So you made that step. You've talked about the content, how it has changed over time. We've talked about the help that has come in that was needed, but maybe not. You guys were maybe not aware that you need help, but eventually it was beneficial.
Absolutely.
Talking about manager, someone that has the knowledge that guides you, that prevents you from signing documents that harm you in the future, which is often really, really sad if that happens.
Yeah.
And we've talked about different partnerships you've done. We've talked about the different approaches you're doing outside the game of social media, naming merchandise, building your own brand, which goes along with building your own identity with a logo, with a certain idea and a feeling, and your goal of building a healthy community that not only serves you two, but also the community itself, in the sense of promoting them, of putting a mirror so they can see themselves as well portrayed in there. And I've talked about what this social media game involves, the different aspects the younger generation should look out for and understand about this. We only scratched the surface there, but there's so much more to it, especially when you're in there. What I hear more and more lately is that so many creators, once they are in that routine of creating constantly content, which the social media asks you for, because they thrive on constant uploading, right?
Yeah.
That's what works the most. So that makes us obviously adapt to the algorithm and put out more content and go to that derailing of doing more quantity than quality content. Sadly, and that hurts us creators in the sense of it makes us less creative in a sense, or makes us not being able to create, more qualitative, better content, right? Something that oftentimes takes more time, right? You could put out a video that is, A+, top notch, but it takes you a week maybe to do it. Right. Instead of that, you create as good as you can, but you do it several times a day. So that's a trade-off right there. There's that. There was one more thing that popped in my mind as I was speaking, and I forgot it. Shame on me, but I forgot about the podcasting thing. Well, it's within there. I'm excited that you guys want to do that. It sounds delicious. I'm really looking forward to tune in once it's available.
Absolutely.
Regarding any doubts about podcasting itself, you guys can count on me for any
appreciate that.
Questions you might
have.
Thank you. And do you two have anything else to add that we might not have talked about that is maybe important to you, that I have not, on my piece of paper?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you? I think we covered a lot. We covered a lot. It was very, very comprehensive. I thought that's it. Yeah, I can't really think of anything in particular, like last little things.
Right. Yeah, no, you're a great interviewer. I think.
Very good questions.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, you two have been very cooperative as well, so I can't complain there. No, but I tend to ask because sometimes there are specific things that maybe an outstander that doesn't see.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'd rather throw it out there just in case. Maybe you guys can, tell people where they can actually find you, what is important for them to check out, and how they might get in touch with you the easiest way if they have any questions.
Yeah. I'd say through all our social media is all the Pointer Brothers with an underscore in our Instagram, which we've been trying to get the account without the underscore. So it's been
the OG one was taken.
Yeah, the OG one, because we found out that also like the Pointer Brothers, like a type of dog are pointers. So there's so many of these accounts that the Pointer Brothers is like these two dogs that are pointers. I think that's the name of the dogs, types of the dogs. So we've been trying to get that, but so the Pointer Brothers.
You can check out our website too. That has links to everything, and the website is thepointerbrothers.com. So we have that locked down.
Yeah.
And then I'll have links to our Instagram, our YouTube, our Snapchat, our podcast. Once we get that up and running, will be on our website. The best way to contact us, I would say, would be through Instagram. Through Instagram DMs. We always check our DMs. We try to respond to every single one of them. So definitely reach out on Instagram. And I think that's that. Yeah.
All right. Sweet. Yeah. I can only vouch for the Instagram. It worked for me. So.
Yeah.
One more thing that actually I realized on the website is just a little. I don't know if it's advice, but yeah, it's an idea. I didn't find a merch section.
So that's a good question. I guess we didn't touch upon this, but we aren't selling that t-shirt anymore. We sold it for a week.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one thing that we decided was let's sell this merch drop one for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
And make it feel a little more exclusive or a little more I guess exclusive. Yeah. So that was one thing that we took into consideration. We were determining how we were going to sell our apparel, our merch.
Limited supply
was the limited supply aspect. So it's not, so it was only available for a week.
First come, first serve, you got it
right.
Well, I can't, because as soon as the next day's up, we're never going to make that shirt ever again.
Right.
So using that, that kind of like marketing aspect.
Right. So when we come out with our next, our sweatshirts, our hoodies, we will make sure to promote them a ton ahead of time, and then there'll be that window of 2-3 days a week, whatever, and then we're going to close it up, and that's going to be that. So that was a good point there. We aren't selling them anymore. That was
all right. Yeah,
first one.
I reckon also. I thought, okay, they are starting up with this merch thing, so
yeah, right.
It makes sense they don't have a proper shop for that set up yet.
right.
Okay, sweet. So we got a website, you got Instagram. Obviously, all links will be available in the description of this podcast, and also on all our social posts that will be out there. So everyone can find you guys easily right away. And okay, great. This was a fun interview, fun conversation. So I like to call them. Rather than
I had a great time. I appreciate the opportunity to hop on, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. That was great.
Okay, sweet. So thank you all for listening. These were the Pointer Brothers, Henry and Mike. Thank you so much for being here, for your time. We are all busy. I'm Lucas, and this was a creative cast. Oh God. Ruin it there in the end. But I'm gonna include it anyway. I love it.
I like that.
Been the best part of my life.